We have Alari, Genji, Ana, Sigma, Ramatra, and Soldier on defense. We have Mercy, Reinhardt, Pharah, Brig, Hog, and Hanzo on attack. Now, I think the defenders look like they have a significantly more powerful, better team composition for this fight in general, for at least the next few fights. Of course, well, actually, not even then. Even with ultimates, the defenders have an advantage. I think the defenders just look like a better composition overall. Like, the one thing the attackers can kind of rely on is going to be the Pharah and Mercy, the pharmacy going on, where they're going to do a lot of damage in the back and hopefully turn around the tanks. But something like Brig, Hog, and then Reinhardt pushing into it, it's going to be a little bit of uphill battle. Now, Reinhardt is really good on King's Row, okay? Because of how much he can just walk right into the battle. How much he can just push right into the enemy team. But up against like a Ramatra and a Sigma, I've mentioned this before, Reinhardt's going to have a really hard time having enough resources when he gets up into the fight. So we'll take a look, at least the start. I know how this goes because I've seen this already, but you'll see how difficult this is.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Peepus, what rank are you, Peep? Let's do a little peek. I got him on my friends list. Because he seems to really like hiding on the flank. And I don't think it's a totally successful it works sometimes, but I don't think it's a very successful strategy. Oh, he gets out. See that. Pharmacy goes over the outside. Sigma gets hooked in. I will note, guys, this is where it's really, really difficult to see the difference between elos and compositions. Because there is no way, no bloody way that Sigma should got hooked here. Okay, I know Wally, I know you guys are in chat. There is no way you should have gotten hooked. Not with double shields. And sometimes it can just be a small mistake. Okay, maybe not elo. I'm not going to say it's elo. I don't know, you know, even some of you guys are better than me and I see these mistakes happen. I make worse mistakes. But if this composition was played to its maximum value, there's no way that any tank would have gotten hooked there. But we did actually end up losing this fight, didn't we? The recovery is crazy. Now, I'll point out too, this is where the flaw of the attacker's composition comes in, right? They don't really have a concrete, easy kill, finish the fight composition. The defenders do. So now, as soon as the attackers kind of get their first little push, their first foot into the door, they just immediately split up. Placid said you noticed the Brig flanks for some reason and the Vortex off her retreat that saves the fight for us. Yeah, it does. Like, mostly, and I would say, I don't even know if Dostry was trying to go for a flank here as much as Dostry was trying to just not overexpose to the point. But, you know, and it's a risky move. I saw what happened there. But, like, if you think about, like, the team composition on the attack, like, there's no strength. There's no solid... The only person who really holds their ground at this moment is going to be the Reinhardt, and there's nobody helping him. So at any point in time, the team composition is pressured, which it will be pressured by, like, a Ramatra and a Sigma, and, of course, Soldier, right? They'll just fire and 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 fire. Hog, Reinhardt, especially you're gonna have an exceptionally hard time against them. There's just so much survivability from the defenders. Survivability and like pressure from the defenders. I will argue too, the only reason why we won this one is because Toasty's a Chad, okay? Toasty knows his tank, all right? And I am very risky, and I believed in him, and it worked. I'll show you guys what happened. So, notice how the entire enemy team, the entire defending team, enemy, you guys, you chat, I know you're the enemy. Notice how the entire defending team is like stuck in one spot. If I was to go above them, they're very much clustered into the area. And what that does is it gives the attackers the opportunity to reassess and re-angle and reposition. So, using this moment, we actually have, where is it? We got Toasty Kaplan right there. Okay. Using this moment where I see them all clustered together, I'm deciding to push right into the back line to create a crossfire or at least a flank. Toasty commits with me as a Reinhardt, as the main tank, which is great because now the enemy team has to turn around and they don't know what's going on. Part of what makes the defenders powerful here with Ramatra and Sigma is the ability to block these lanes off, to hold off the enemy team from the lanes and really like remove all of their resources as they're pushing up against them. But what Toasty does and what I do at this moment is we shortcut our way to the back line. We just burst our way in. So now all of the advantage that the defenders have from being this kind of pokey, rangy, sustainy composition, it just melts away. It's just gone. There is nothing you guys can do to defend this area. Laston said, yes, you give the single angle to push, you gave up that angle to push off in the captive sun, which then puts you in an awkward spot. Exactly. It's unfortunate. Of course, there's a whole team that adds to how the push fell apart, but the small individual mistakes from every player just kind of broke everything up a little bit there.
Objective lost. Stop the payload.
We gotta song. Who can say what? Oh, the lyrics. Oh, Toasty, and he gets killed by the sleep dart. So tragic. Now, I'll even argue, and I know the results of this fight, that the attackers should have the hardest time ever pushing this point. And we do have a hard time pushing it, but I think we did pretty well. I'll show you guys. Well, let's do the action cam down low. Reinhardt always has an exceptionally hard time on this point of Eichenwalde. Okay, even though he's actually good, you can flip it to the point where he's really good because you bundle the team up behind him, you push up into the castle, and you just walk through the castle and clear as you wander around. But just because of the high ground advantage that the enemy team will have and the amount of heroes that get advantage from being at this high ground position, like Reinhardt in general is so difficult. I will almost always swap off the dive at this point because I'm not that good of a tank. You can see how both of these, especially Reinhardt in general, just stands around. It kind of has to be like, I don't know what's going on, guys. Please deal with everything that's going on around me and don't die. You know, it's a cross your fingers and kind of pray kind of comp. This was awkward for me. I will point this out as the Hanzo. I have to go to the high ground. I know I did leave the payload, but we don't have any high ground control if we don't support this area. This is where you can see, even though Toasty and Toasty's GM player, he's getting no value at all standing here. Okay, he gets a swing at an enemy Reinhardt. Wow, that's a really good use of a very high elo player. It's not, right? So it works, but we have to be able to control the space as we move in it to be able to take it. And I think this is where defenders kind of messed up just a little bit. I'm not gonna focus specifically on this this fight itself. Ryan goes down. What I am seeing already too, and it's the same thing as the previous game, is where the tanks are incredibly independent. Okay, both tanks are playing by themselves. They're playing for themselves, and they're playing like they are each main tanks. I think we have to get out of that mentality. It's going to be hard because everybody's trained up on 5v5 when you are the main tank. Blastus didn't realize he could even get hooked from that spot. Wow. Yeah, it's we won't break down each individual fight with just the tanks, but just really keep an eye on it, everybody. You'll see both, and I mentioned this too before in some fights, like slinkying their way in. Okay, you know how slinky works? It's got one side, top of it falls over to the next area, and then it bounces over, next. Really, what should be happening, what the optimal fight is that everyone goes in like a wrecking ball. So, you know, all at once, all of that power goes in. But when you're slinkying in, you're going a little bit of space, and the next tank goes in. A little more space, a little bit more space, a little bit more space. And that is a strategy. I'll even argue that is a strategy that you want to have and will win you some games. But it's not optimal. I love this point of Eichenwalde, the two tanks. It's a blast. Look how much stuff is going on. Woo! Genji comes in, wrecks everybody, okay. Gets wrecked himself. Lassa said, yeah, it's probably why things go so much better for us when you swap to Zarya. Ram isn't a hero you have in your normal hero pool, but Zarya is. Especially when it comes to having an extra tank. Nobody, literally nobody so far has had Ram as a second tank. There has not been pro leagues where they learn how to use Ram as a second tank. There has been some of it with the Reinhardt Roadhog composition we see here. And so everybody kind of knows that the Roadhog stands behind the Reinhardt. He grabs somebody, he pulls them in, they swing, they kill the person. Simple as that. But what do you do with Ramatra Reinhardt? What's the combo there? Right? What actually is the combo? I'm going to argue it probably has something to do with his gravity thing that you throw out and slow people down. Why? Because Reinhardt has a difficult time getting close. So maybe potentially we can just theory craft. The Ramatra places his shield down. Reinhardt walks up to the shield. The Ramatra throws his gravity thing over into the enemy team. Reinhardt walks in, starts swinging. When the gravity thing disappears, Reinhardt pulls out, uses his shield to escape. That could be the combo with it. But we don't have any like real life example where reputation is on the line for people to be able to figure out like what the most optimal composition, the most optimal order of operations for the abilities are. Counter shatter, beautiful. Oh, I do need 1 second, guys. I just got a phone call. Hold on. 1 second. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Now, one of the big jobs here, too, that the attackers should be putting together is all of their ultimates at once. Now, like, the only reason, and this is mostly for lower elo players, and, like, lower elo meaning below diamond, anyone above this will all automatically understand this. The only reason why you would want to use less than all 6 ultimates on an attack is to save time. That is the only reason, okay? If you think you can win with using 2 ultimates, do it. Why? Because you're going to save a whole bunch of time. But if you have any doubt in your mind that you are not going to make it, you're not going to be able to push your way in, then you just don't use it. This is like back in the good old days of Overwatch. Like we saw things like Dragon Pulse Bomb and Grab Dragon and Grab Pulse Bomb and other combos, Shatter Blade, to be able to get into a fight. Nowadays, with 5 players, it seems like 1 or 2 ultimates used relatively independently is enough to break into whatever you're attempting to push through. With 6 players, always, your goal is to go in with all 6 ultimates to win. Only reason, I'll repeat, the only reason why you would want to use an ultimate early is if you're going to save time at the end of the game. That is it. Because using an ultimate early will not save you time. So, did the Brig ult and did the Dragon save us time? Big Blade from Peepus. He's a very strong, he's a good mechanical player, I will say. Mechanically, I don't know if he's memeing. What's up, Dostra? How you doing, man? Welcome back. Just to pause to pre-prep what to go and talk about what I pre-prepped in this. What did the Dragon and the Rally do? Absolutely nothing. Now this is where Brig probably isn't the best choice. Why? Because Brig's ultimate is a defensive ultimate. If we go to our rule, we have to say, why would you ever use an ultimate instead of using all 6 ultimates to push into a point? Well, it's to finish off the fight faster. What does Brig's ultimate do? Does Brig's ultimate extend the fight, or does it make the fight quicker? Well, obviously, it doesn't. It extends the fight out, right? Just a kind of a rule of thumb, right? If you're waiting for all 6 ultimates, okay, well maybe we can theory craft a little bit. Maybe you Brig ult so that, I don't know. Well, now it's a Kree, but it was the Hanzo before. I didn't even know. Maybe so that the Reinhardt can get in deeper so he can shatter, but he doesn't have shatter yet, right? So what's the point? Dostry says, I'm totally right, but you're a Brig main in the support role. That's fine. Like I'm just pointing this out from an It's not a matter. I'm not concerned about who's in the position right now. I've mentioned this to everybody else. So I want you to be able to abstract out. I could watch about the individual play, and there's all these kind of stuff too, where like I do a lot of lower elo coaching. If you guys are looking for some help and you are stuck in anywhere below platinum, I'm actually a pretty okay coach. I've helped out people even kind of get to top 500 in terms of coaching. Not gonna totally take that, but you know, we can. I got some people that I helped coach that ended up there. So I'm not gonna go over the individual person. There's a million ways we can review the games. I could literally, if you wanted to play Brig here, I would absolutely be like, okay, so how are we gonna plan this? Where are you gonna shield bash? What's your whip shot for? We could do all these little micro things that would help you improve the chances of winning in this example when Brig is not the most optimal, right? Because Brig is not the most optimal in this situation. It is a defensive ability, a defensive ultimate. Also, I'll even point out, just to match this out, I'm beside you. I'm the Hanzo who ulted in, and we didn't get any value from it, right? Like, my own rule is if I'm going to use an ultimate, the only point of it is to save time, right? To end the fight quicker so we can push faster. But I didn't do that. So it's not a general point. It's not a point on the individual play. It's a point on my own play, right? My own, like, or the composition. How the composition added to the play. I don't know if that's a better way of putting it. So the attackers in general, to kind of bring this back, are going to have a really difficult time against the defenders. It's kind of just the way it is, the way the compositions have been set up. Classic third point stuff. Exact. Third point, if you don't synchronize your third point push correctly, it's impossible, especially with 6v6. It is highlighted with 6v6. Like the front lines right now are kind of creeping back and forth. I was just going to say, we got to pause it and think about ultimates here. Defenders have the ultimate advantage. They have a huge ultimate advantage right now. Now, attackers, of course, have Shatter coming up. They've got a few other abilities. But because Baptiste was the first to put their ultimate out, they generally have the advantage. Now, when you get higher, when you get way, way, way higher, the person to use their ultimate first is actually at a disadvantage. Why? Because normally an ultimate counters an ultimate, right? So when you use your ultimate first, someone's going to use their ultimate to counter you. You want to use your ultimate to counter somebody else. That's like the end goal. But just in terms of ultimate economy, the Bat being the first to place it also means that everybody else is going to do a lot more damage right away. They're going to put a lot more pressure on the enemy team, and they're going to force out stuff that the enemy team should be using. They should be using all at once. Remember, the attackers should be using all of their cooldowns, all of their ultimates, everything at once to win the fight. This is going to possibly stop that. Which it does. I die right away. That's me. I get take a shot. Unless it says right-clicking through the window gave you crazy grab charge. The window, like, it's one of those abilities that you are adding to the power of your team, right? I see that DOS screen. I'm going to avoid doing individual play. I will point out Brig, even though she's a brawl character-ish, you actually want to play her at range. You want to play her at a setup. You'd love to see a VOD review of yours. You need to get that more. Well, you're totally welcome to jump in if I'm doing VOD reviews and whatnot to focus the VOD review, to focus at least what I'm talking about. But also, too, I do Patreon coaching. So if you want to do $5 a month, $10 a month, distributed anyway. We do group sessions. I believe we're gonna be doing it every Wednesday now. I think we call it Workout Wednesdays, and then we change it to Merkout Mondays. So we do Mondays. And I got a few other people, a bunch of my Patreon members. Like I say, we get together and we do game reviews and we get better. And we're not amazing, like we're not awesome or anything like that. And I'm like I say, I'm a diamond player, and it's me just coaching people that are below that. And even sometimes too, like I say, I actually have a top 500 who's like $1 on Patreon. He comes in every once in a while, and actually, a GM Brig, I think. Anyway, that's all over the place. But we do that. Definitely, you're totally welcome to come in. Even if you do $1 a month, as long as there's an open slot, you're welcome. We do all sorts of reviews like that. So, of course, I do have to pitch. I do have to advertise my own little things here. You know, it is what it is. Of course, I do have to charge for it, but it's cheap and it's a lot of fun in general. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, you're definitely welcome to join in. And we don't stream them, so they're private. They're definitely private. Any player needs a VOD review from Bonds. Exactly. You do not learn unless you watch back your game. Like, you do not learn. There's no way of learning. There's zero way. Mostly because there's all these small, subtle things that we've been going over that you don't notice unless you slow it down. Unless you step back, you look at the composition, you break down how things are going to play out.
30 seconds.
Time's at 4:30. We got 30 minutes until we're doing 6v6s. 30 minutes. It does feel like, I will point this out, that the Hog is probably the biggest burden on the team at the moment. Because Hog has very little forward momentum. He's got very little stuff that pushes into the enemy team. And we're dealing with very tight hallways. It's not going to turn out too well. Now, of course, because there's a Reinhardt, things are a lot better, I would say, than they normally would turn out. But we can see the weakness of the Hog come out. We can really see the weakness of the Hog. And even to the Brig, where there's no aggressive forwardness. Dostry, just to point out too, something like Zenyatta, and this is even, I know you don't want the individual, or not one, I know you don't mind it here, so I'll point this out. This is where having another character under your belt that has relatively the same in terms of impact, but has a completely different style of impact, allows for you to just win a lot more fights. So this area, for example, like I say, Zenyatta is actually an excellent hero, because think about it. You hang out in the back. Think about how much pressure Zenyatta puts in. And look at this. Look at this blade, by the way. Let's play it back. Let's actually go watch Peepus' blade. Let's take a peek. But it's just something to think about, right? It gives you that range to work down long hallways, where normally when you're on the open, something like Brig might actually be okay, because if she gets jumped, she's okay from there, right? Duster, you play Zen too. You're just too stubborn sometimes. Yeah, I know I'm right. No, but it's just, you know, I want to point out to you guys. So some of you guys are gonna hate me for this. I'm an original Symmetra player. I'm an original Diamond Symmetra player. 6 turrets. Okay, the original teleporter that came from Spawn. All right, so I am very pro people playing whatever the fuck they want. All right, I will absolutely back that up. I just realized too, Twitch just said that someone left a bit. So I said that. Okay, well, I just saw my viewer count go down. Anyway, how could I? Well, the thing, you can make really any composition work up into a higher elo where everybody is near perfect, and then the hero breaks down. Absolutely, but we have to be able to admit the weaknesses in our heroes and in our compositions. You came after, yeah, exactly. So we have to be able to admit the weaknesses in our composition and admit and learn like where the better ideas would be, the better things would be. So then we can learn what holes we need to fill inside our off-meta character. I'm pretty good at taking on Pharahs, even with the modern Symmetra right now. Okay, not the best. And if we're on a game where there's a top 500 Pharah, and I'm like, I'm just not going to win that 100%. But if I'm up against a silver, a gold, a platinum, even a diamond Pharah, not that hard. Really not that hard. So, in general, that's just kind of my idea. Let's take a look at this blade and see how well. Whoa! Oh, big nano. Oh my. Huge. Absolutely massive.
I never knew you to be so
Amazing.
Round 1 complete.
Only a fool waits an opportunity.
Score 0.
I will let everybody know too, I love taking a long time breaking down Overwatch games because there's so much stuff going on. And I didn't even go over individual things. We could go back and review every single little corner. So for example, if you're a hit scan player, where you can focus on what angle you take and where you place your crosshair, and are you creating a crossfire, or are you taking a hard shot or an easy shot, a contested shot, an uncontested shot? There's all of these little things that we can break down inside these Overwatch fights. But just to repeat as general, we are focusing on like why 6v6 is special. What is the uniqueness of 6v6? There's a million people out there that are doing VOD reviews of 5v5. Let's do the game that we love. Placid said it was pure luck that you grabbed everyone who could do anything about the blade.
Ready for battle.
And Dosri says you got me. You got me in there. But again, your positioning is bad. Yeah, exactly. We can be more efficient with everything.
We will be the
I can even go my view, and even though I'm a perfect player, I never make mistakes.
Defend objective A.
Okay. So let's take a look at team composition really quickly. Attackers: Lucio, Genji, Ana, Reinhardt, Zarya, Tracer. Super classic. This is the I am gonna be doing solo queuing on a weekend, and it's Overwatch 1, and it's season 10, season 11, and not everybody knows the meta, and we're just playing heroes that we love. That's what this composition is. Looking at the defenders, we have Ana, Orisa, Junkrat, Kiriko, Hog, and Sojourn, which is I really hate when the enemy team has fun, and really like just shooting stuff and do a lot of damage composition. Two very different comps. But if we take a look, okay, we can do a quick prediction. And I know you guys played the game already, but in theory, which composition wins here? Which composition completely outplays the other? Well, it's probably going to be the attackers, right? It's probably going to be the attackers, for sure. Because they're just going to run in as a ball. They're going to smack whoever is out in the open. And you can take a look from the defender's composition. They cannot get out of the way. There's nothing they can do to get out of the way. Now, there are small things the defenders should be able to do. And this is where stuff like Junkrat and Sojourn really help out. Placid said unless they lock down the choke, with the spawn attacker, the 90% of the spam. Yes, that's what I was going to say. So, and not just like random spam, but calculated spam, right? This is really important. The Junkrat and the Sojourn need to go after either the Lucio or the Ana and maybe the Tracer. Okay? They need to. Tracer's going to do some funky, cheeky stuff that is going to be really easy for the Sojourn to hit. But if the enemy team, if the attackers stay in a nice clump and they're protected and they time everything out, there's no way the defenders are going to do anything about it. I could imagine the Junkrat 2 would have to do something cheeky, maybe land in the back, kill someone in the back line, maybe trap somebody that'll slow them down a little bit, but it's going to be a really hard defense. But what is the big but? What is the big flaw that just happened? And it's the same theme that I have been saying over and 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 over again during these 6v6 reviews. What is the big thing? Someone in chat's got to know. I'll even play it in slow motion. Blessed said your Genji only dies because you wasted your ally bubbles. Part of it. What do we see here? I see a lack of experience with 6v6. I'm getting cheeky here. We need to speed in there. We need to use the bubbles on the enemy team. We need to push in. We need to kill them. Holding W. While your supports are in cover, everybody should be holding W. Doesn't matter. Your supports have... The reason why the supports are hiding is because the tanks stop pressing W. Right? I'll back this up a little bit.
Defend objective A.
The purpose of the tanks is to time all of their survivability cooldowns right as they push themselves around this corner. Notice, Lucio is damn ready to keep going. He is ready to keep going, and even in some sense, already amped. Already amped. That amp has gone out. We need to use all of those cooldowns to get in. And that's where this composition is now starting to fall apart. Right? Reinhardt steps out. He gets a projected bubble. He keeps running, starts swinging, puts his shield up, blocks all of the damage. Zarya pushes up right in behind, throws her laser out, steps in front of the Rein shield for a second just to make sure the Rein shield doesn't break, takes all of the Junkrat spam, is now 100 charge, walks in. Everybody's dead, you win. With Lucio speed boost. It's a mistake. So Placid says he's waiting for your bubble to come back after eating spam. One, you need to be a little more efficient with the bubble. Not, again, not individual reviews. But if the Zarya was more efficient with the bubble, that wouldn't totally be an issue. The bubble would be up during the entire motion of the team pushing out into point. But now, because the tanks have stopped and started poking, everybody else is vulnerable. The supports now have to like, oh crap, where are the tanks going? What's going on? How do we peek? How do we poke? What are they doing? What's going on? Now the supports get hit. Why? Because if we go to the enemy Ana, all she's doing is watching for it. Look at this.
Ready for battle. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
So they start pushing up. Ana's just chilling. He's just chilling. Imagine if there was a Reinhardt Zarya bubble with Lucio in their face, right? The composition would lose. This is hard to see, and especially at lower elos, becomes less and less obvious. How's it going, Ben? Welcome in. How are you doing today? Dostray says nice nade. It was a very nice nade, but it was only a nice nade because we didn't aggress, or well, I'm on the defender side, so you guys didn't aggress hard enough to stop that nade from happening. And also what that does is it forces the Ana to use the nade on herself instead, right? If she's getting overwhelmed and she's getting hit with splash damage and lasered and everything, she now has to use the nade defensively. But giving them enough time means that an offensive nade can be planned and set up and whatever, it's gone there, you know. Also, you're gonna blame your ping for this Reinhardt charge? I don't even. Ben says Monty is playing a character where you need an aim. Yeah, Monty has zoomer aim, man. Monty can click on people's heads. He's just got low confidence. You know what I'm saying? Confidence is like, even in this push, confidence is like the number one thing that results in a victory or a loss in Overwatch. As soon as people lose confidence, they completely lose all sense of stability. This was a casual, messy fight. It was a super nothing nothing important happened this fight. But you notice how the attackers still won? Because the attackers didn't need to do much other than just walk forward. All they needed to do was just walk forward, use the cooldowns, and they win the fight. But because that didn't happen that first fight, it was messy. It broke up, you know. Placid said the amount of times someone died because you were a second too slow to bubble them this game, that's going to happen more and more. Placid, may I ask, rank are you? The reason why I want to know that, because you are up against very good players. Okay? Monty is like Diamond Masters. Toasty is GM. Maythies is... unranked. I think Maythies is like Diamond. This game Plat 1, yeah. As you move up and up and up, you'll notice that the enemy team what seems not deliberate, is that a sentence? What doesn't seem deliberate, right? Like being a fraction of a second off to bubble somebody is actually a deliberate thing by the enemy team. They are planning that. They know when your bubble's coming up. They know exactly how much time you have to do whatever you're trying to do. So being able to plan for that really that's actually what bumps people up into Diamond and Masters, is like just being there that extra fraction of a second earlier, because Platinums know how to use their abilities. They know when cooldowns come out. They know all the basic stuff. And so they're actually really good. Platinums in general are actually really good at reacting to whatever is coming at you. But just tearing up, going from, everybody counters me every once in a while and I'm just off and just whatever, to going, I do this every time. This is the only window that they can do this on. This is the only thing they can use this on. This is the only setup. That is that Diamond Masters GM level that comes in a little later. And because you're up against really good players here, because we have some really, really good players in the teams, that's going to happen more and more. You're going to notice a lot more of like, I could have done this. I could have done this. I could have done this. And I notice it. Okay. I notice, I'm a Diamond player. I notice it completely. Like you know, maybe I'll be like a low Diamond player even, you know, like it's not too crazy, you know what I mean? It's not yeah. Or not too crazy to imagine, that people are planning for these types of things. We have one of the world's historically greatest pulse bombs coming up. Is everybody prepared for this? Because this is going to be a thing of beauty. You see this? Let's go take a look at Chips' view. Oh, Chips. I believe this is it. So pushing out, everybody's falling back. I gotta see that. Yeah, I missed that. Well, first, I gotta shame myself here. Shame. Shame. I just didn't know Sojourn's mechanics well enough. Oh! This is where Toasty is nasty sometimes, man. Toasty's crazy. Crazy. He just barely gets, so look at this.
They can't stop me now.
Ben, I'm just not a Sojourn player, okay? I thought I could do this perfect little hippity hop out, take a shot at their back line. And then pop back onto the platform. But I was like inches off. Inches off. Fast forward this. Yeah, okay, never mind. Here comes the pulse bomb of the century. We're gonna slow this down to see exactly what happened. Was a fair try. It's brutal, man. Alright. Genji's being really aggressive. Both tanks are being a little bit passive right now. But we know Beepus is a crazy dude. He goes down. Both tanks decide to commit. Dostrade, did you have Suzu? We shall see. We shall see. Wally looks very scared here. Shatter comes out. Monty goes down. Ostre is right there. I'm up at the top. I make the mistake of dropping in a second. Wally goes down. Chips goes down. It's right now. I want to point out the great thing about 6v6. 2 people are dead. The fight isn't over. The fight is not over. I get cocky. I realize, oh, K-Cobb is on my ass. Thank you, Dustre. I appreciate it. Let me get out of here, even though I should just be shooting him. I didn't even realize. Okay. Oh, it's up ahead a little longer. Timing this. Oh, yeah, okay. Do we get the loot? He gets stuck in there? He's gonna go out the other way. Where's this? I'm prepping for this grab, guys. Come on. Okay. Here we go, I think. Getting aggressive. Both teams are together. Toasty plays really independent. Wally gets hooked in. Suzu comes out from Dostray early. I throw my ultimate. Grab. Comes out. This. Oh my god. Chips comes flying in. Gotta slow this down. Slow this way down. Oh.
Looks good on you.
Boom. What? Holy moly. Let's take a peek at that again. This Orisa version in 6v6 is so good, yeah. Screenshot of the grab and saying this is Overwatch. Everyone gets pulled in. Let me pause it. Let me take some screenshots here. What is going on? What is this pile? Did you know that despite being the same animation, Terrace for spinning javelin does not... Yeah, I know that. It's... Blizzard and their consistency is a little interesting. Hi. Oh, that's a Renaissance painting right there. That is beautiful, guys. That is so funny.
Looks good on you.
And then she just gets out. I gotta do some more screenshots. This is crazy. I'm getting a whole bunch of screenshots here, guys. Normally, yeah. Actually, what we could do too, options, details, graphics quality, no, video. Where is screenshot resolution? What setting is screen? Do you guys know what screenshot? What we're gonna actually do too? Custom? No. Graphics quality. Why is everything? Fly. Gotta get used to that 4080, guys. Spectate communication. No, in a game. Where is it? Screenshot quality. 9x. We are going to freeze my PC, guys. Give me 1 second here. This is so... These screenshots, by the way, that I'm taking, they're almost a gigabyte in size. Oh. Overwatch just crashed. Overwatch actually just crashed on me. No. No. Here, let me see if we can pull this up, though.